I think building a community where you have their likes and dislikes there. Like if you have a seniors community where they can have their own gardens, where they can go for a walk, where they can have their own swimming pool, where they can have their own exercise area, and in the center of it, if they can have all of that, they can access what they want or what their interest is. Some could be artists, some could be musicians. So if you had all of that at their disposal, so to say, that would help them age happier.
This podcast is brought to you by the Garden of Your Dreams Masterclass. Are you struggling with finding the right tools and tricks for your garden? Are you lacking the confidence to be a self-sufficient gardener? Do you sometimes get overwhelmed by the lack of knowledge and time you have to actually do gardening? Then the Garden of Your Dreams Masterclass is for you. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Regenerative Design Podcast. Today we have another amazing guest. I'm so excited to have Ruth on here with us. So Nurse Ruth is quite famous in my opinion. She has done so many amazing things, and so Nurse Ruth is a powerhouse in the caregiving and elderly business. She has worked as a nurse for over 50 years in the industry. She has a lot of experience. And now the most amazing thing happened, and I'm so excited to tell you this story with you. So when Nurse Ruth decided to retire from her job, as a gift for her retirement to herself, she said, I'm going to start my own business. Exactly. And as she started doing that, within 5 years, she opened 2 clinics. She is consulting people in the caregiving business, and her business is flourishing. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to have you on the show. We're going to talk about how important it is to care for elderly and how we can actually create something good for the environment that also helps elderly people, and also about how the whole food industry is also part of the solution here for people to have a longer and graceful aging process. So first of all, Nurse Ruth, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
Excellent, thank you.
Nice. So as I said, I'm super excited. I want to know from you, from a backstory, like where did all of this start? Like as a child, were you caring for people, or how did you got into this whole industry?
I started caring for my grandmother at the age of 8.
Wow.
And then went into nursing in the 70s, came to Canada, did nursing in different facets. And then...
so you grew up in India, right?
I grew up in India. I did my nursing in India.
Wow.
And then I did my master's in education in the US. Mm-hmm. I did my MBA from the US. And then I started Nurse Next Door, which is a franchise.
Yeah.
And I have quite a big area. I have Scarborough, I have the beaches, I have part of North York, which is Richmond Hill South.
Yep.
We have put in for accreditation for Nurse Next Door, which is a good thing to do, mm-hmm. because then you are accountable for what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
I think what we pride ourselves in is all in the front line we have nurses. Mm-hmm. So we don't have schedulers, we don't have anybody. Everything we do ourselves are nurses. So when the phone calls come in, mm-hmm. it's so much more easier for a nurse to understand what the other person is saying.
Yes.
If it's a senior, what do you do for them? How do you help them maintain a lifestyle that they want to? Not what we want to.
Yeah.
It's more what they want to.
Yes.
So when you look at that and they don't want to go to a retirement home, no. What can they do at home? What do they love to do? I have many seniors. I think my oldest one right now is 104 years old.
Oh, wow.
I had another one who was 107 years old.
What?
She was from Russia. Yeah. And she loved gardening. Till almost when she was 105, she used to sit in the garden.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, it does help them do what they want to do for themselves.
Oh yeah.
Lifestyle is another big one. What is their lifestyle?
Exactly.
What do they eat? How do they eat? I had a client for almost 13 years. And when we changed her diet from what she ate to an organic diet, She had come off of quite a few of her medications.
Yes, you had told me the story just for the listeners that she had mental
illness from the age of 16.
Wow.
She lived till she was 94, 95. Her wish was to die at home, and she did.
Wow.
But she changed her lifestyle, she changed her diet. We couldn't get her to walk as much, but what I'm saying is she died in her home. That was her wish.
That's amazing.
Which is a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
She loved her garden. She'll stand in her window and she'll look at the trees and the gardens. She had a gardener coming in, so she will tell them what she wanted. But even the flowers, at least, even though she didn't go down, she was at least able to see that in her own backyard.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that makes people very proud, or it's part of how they perceive a natural environment and how things grow. It's like it helps you with your aging. And I love the story because she was on quite a lot of medication, right? And you were able, with changing the diet, helping to care to her needs, to gradually lower that, which is amazing. Yeah.
I think before she died, she was on what, 3 medications?
Only.
Yeah.
And you started with like
16, 17?
16, 17 types of medication. Crazy, right? And that's a topic that I want to talk about with you, like the whole food industry as well. Like, we are eating a lot of things that are not good for our bodies, and then we have to take medicines to kind of work with the symptoms, and we're not really resolving because nobody dares to say like, hey, change your diet. So is that a big part of your work as well, or how do you incorporate that?
It is a very big part of our work, because the medications that they get, I think people have to be educated in order to learn what are the side effects. So once you know what the side effects are, you know how to deal with it.
Oh yeah.
You know whether you want to change the medications. You want to know whether you want to reduce the medication. You want to know whether you're allergic to the medication.
Oh yeah.
So that way, food is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because some of the medications, your stomach burns. So what do? Then people take another medication
to mitigate that.
So understanding what medication is, what the medication does to your body, how it interacts with other medication is also a very important thing to know. So once you know medications, once you know what they do for you, or is your body just rejecting it? So therefore, can you stop that medication?
Yes.
If you stop that medication, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
But if you're going to stop it, is there an alternative?
Yeah, I understand. And so as part of that whole work about the medication, what is your perspective on could be on a global scale, but we can keep it more local here to Toronto, Canada, Ontario. Like, what do you think are the biggest challenges in the healthcare system, maybe more specifically in the elderly or retirement industry?
I think in the elderly, they go to the doctors. Number one, many of us don't have family doctors. So since the primary contact is not there, it's just renewing their medication. Some of them haven't reviewed their medication. Now with the laws changing and the pharmacists having a more say in what your medications are, or to prescribe medications, we don't know what interactions medications have with them.
Oh, yeah.
So many times you're going to see elderly having so many medications. One of the side effects is falls.
Is false that it doesn't work anymore, or
no? Falls is the side effect of the medication that makes them drowsy.
Oh yeah.
Or reduces their blood pressure.
Oh yeah.
So when it reduces their blood pressure, when they suddenly stand up, they can have a fall. And fall is fall is something that will kill them, because they can't handle going to the hospital to have a surgery if they have a broken bone.
Yeah, I get it. So it's this whole loop of like, okay,
exactly.
You might get a medicine to heal you to a certain level, but then you become weaker and you might end up with other diseases or broken and then
broken bones.
Yeah, well, I know that from my grandfather when he had a broken hip. This was like getting towards of the end, even though he was, as you said, he was super active.
Yeah.
He did like what people would now call yoga. He was doing that gymnastics every morning. So when I was a kid and my parents would not be around, they would take care of us. And in the morning before we got to school, we saw him do all these exercises. We were like, what is he doing? And he worked in his garden just like 2 years or less, actually, I think half a year before he passed away. And it was like his most precious thing to do. He was a farmer as well, so it was kind of in him. But I think it's such an important topic, right? So even in your work, are you trying to incorporate that?
Yeah, diet is a very big part of it. What they eat, what time they eat. Are we going in to make breakfast and lunch for them? Or are we going in for dinner? So, doing that, doing the grocery list for them, seeing where they can go. If they want to do shopping themselves, taking them grocery shopping, helping them choose their fruits and vegetables or what they want to eat. Even introducing a bit of fruits and vegetables in their diet, maybe they just don't want to cut it.
Yeah.
So, how do you make that happen?
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and then part of the diet is also the whole thing about exercise and how we can get people to spend more time outdoors in the garden. Like there's been research about the blue zones of the world where they see like this is areas where people live way longer than most areas of the world. And one important aspect that I want to talk to you about is that part of gardening. So how can you incorporate that in your work? Is that something that is possible, or how do you emphasize that?
For me, when I have clients who live in their home and who want to do gardening, we find a caregiver who loves gardening as well.
Nice.
So when you find a caregiver, it matches well.
Yes.
They know they have something to talk about.
Yep.
There are others who might like sports, but there are some who might like gardening or who just like plants in the home. How do you take care of plants in the home? You may not be able to go out, but can you take care of plants in the home? But then you need a caregiver who also has the same interest.
Yes.
That way both of them hit it off.
Yes.
And they look after plants, they talk to the plants, they water the plants. That is their exercise, walking or going to the garden and watering the plants or vegetables, or making a vegetable garden, or making a garden in their balcony, which is also possible if you can't go out. So there are different ways of keeping them occupied. Right? You can have a small one by just watering them every 2-3 days. You can have one in the balcony, or one you can have in the backyard.
Yes. No, I think it's amazing to look at it that way. Like and it sounds like the caregivers that you work with that are part of your team, you're really emphasizing on what the client, because at the end of the day, it's a client, what they want and what they need.
Yeah, and then match the client to the caregiver.
Oh wow, it's like a dating system. Right?
So if you can match them, that's so much better than just sending somebody. We also make sure that if we are sending more than one caregiver, right, both of them have to have the same qualities what the client needs. You just don't send somebody just for the sake of sending somebody.
No.
You must know the interests of the clients. You must know the needs of the clients. You must know their, some of them just like to go for a walk. Does the caregiver want to go for a walk with them? Some of them don't.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have to find somebody.
Yes.
You have to find, some of them may go for a long walk, but come and watch games. So does the caregiver enjoy games with them? So, that's what is interesting in clients, because then they know they have somebody who also has the same interest.
Yep.
Not somebody who's sitting.
This podcast is brought to you by the Garden of Your Dreams Masterclass. Are you struggling with finding the right tools and tricks for your garden? Are you lacking the confidence to be a self-sufficient gardener? Do you sometimes get overwhelmed by the lack of knowledge and time you have to actually do gardening? Then the Garden of Your Dreams Masterclass is for you.
That's incredible to know that, because I think there's a big demand for that, as most of the caregiving industry is like about volume and numbers and financial things that are also important, I think, but getting it to the point where it's meeting their needs so that they can gracefully age. I think that's really important. Now, I want to go back to your story of like starting your own business. So just for the listeners to understand again, Nurse Ruth had a long career as a nurse herself, and then she was at the age where you could retire, if I'm not mistaken. She did.
I
And
didn't.
then you did. You did. Technically, you never retired, but
What
how-
is retirement? Can you define it for me?
well, the word retirement is to slow down, right?
Slow down from
Retire
where?
is to go to take
go
a step back.
Okay.
Is that the right way,
I
or
don't
what
know.
do you know?
That is not in my vocabulary, so
No.
I don't know.
I love that. See, that's
So
exactly
I don't
why.
know.
So you decided, instead of slowing down, you said, okay, I'm gonna.
I thought I have so much to give. So when you have so much to give, why not set up something
Oh yeah.
that you can share with people, where you can give people, where you can train people?
Mm.
So you're not wasting your skills, you're not wasting your talent.
Yep.
You're also equipping others to do better. What I have, or what I learned, or what I did in life can benefit a lot more people
Yeah, exactly.
than just sitting at home and doing nothing.
Oh yeah. And that's a common thing, right? And that's why I think maybe we have to redefine the word retirement, or just I think
or
what you
take
say.
it away from them.
Yeah, just get rid of it. It's more about aging and becoming of age, and doing that gracefully. And I think that you're a beautiful example of how you can do it in a way that you keep of service to the community. And
Yes.
one way of doing it, as it turns out, and that's what I believe as well, is starting a business, because
Yeah.
doing a business is impact. You can hire people, you can help people at a larger scale. So that's I think the amazing story of you, how you got to do that. It's crazy. So as you've been doing that, you said you had an MBA in business. Did you have to learn a lot, or
No.
you had a lot of knowledge because of were in the industry, or things just like went your way?
I think as I went along, I was a manager in one of the companies, and they said, oh, in order for you to keep a job, you need to do an MBA. So I went and did an MBA. When I was teaching at the university, they said I had to have my master's in order to continue teaching. So I went and got my master's. So I don't think I did those things for any other reason than for keeping jobs.
To staying of service of what
and
you do.
yeah, and I had hands-on nursing as well.
Nice.
I did community nursing as well.
Yep.
So it all brought in a very different set of skills and different experience that I can now share with anybody who's there, or the caregivers that are there. Like we have a classroom where we can train our own caregivers. If there's anything lacking, we can bring them in.
Yep.
We can train them here.
Yes.
Then we know that they are up to par with what the client needs. My caregivers don't train on the client.
No.
They train on themselves first in the classroom,
and with
in order to go out,
Yeah.
in order to go out, and then they can.
Yes. So you have a system for that, or
I
each
have a
person that
system for
comes
that.
with you learns the
Anybody
system?
who comes, anybody else we hire, we bring them to the classroom. We test them whether they really know what they say they know.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they have to sit down, learn with us, teach us, or we train them, and then they have to demonstrate to us that yes, they know how to do it.
So you really have to qualify and learn and keep
Exactly.
learning and improving, because you're really targeting the highest possible service for the right price. So I think that is amazing. Now, getting a little bit deeper into the retirement industry, I don't like the word, aging industry. We are redefining the industry, and that's your mission, I think.
Exactly.
So
We'll take out the word retire.
That's like rubbish. We don't need that. One of our greatest mentor, or our common mentor, Raymond Aaron, he just got 80.
Yeah.
And he's on fire more than ever, I think. And he's so knowledgeable, and that's what I love about you as well. You're so knowledgeable, and you're using that to build businesses, to help people. Like 50 years in the industry, you know quite a lot. You've seen a lot happening. So I think that's amazing. Now, looking at a global trend, which most of the Western countries are facing, that we are having a population that is aging more and more. What do you think is the best solution to overcome that, knowing that in some cases we'll actually have far less younger people to care for elderly people? Like, what do you think is the solution to this problem that we're going to face, or that we're starting to see? Even in Canada, there's quite a bit of an issue with taking care of elderly people, right?
I think allowing elderly people to do what they love best. You know, Nurse Next Door has a philosophy which is called happier aging. Do what you love the best,
Yeah.
and match a caregiver to you
Mm.
that they do exactly. And in many ways, it's a win-win situation
Yes.
because the seniors can teach you what they know.
Yeah.
And I think at a younger age, you can grasp so much more
Oh yeah.
and glean from their skill and become a better person.
Mm.
So it's not only getting paid for caregiving, but also learning so much more,
Yes.
which I think is more value.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of looking at it, because it might sound a little bit like as if it's more work when you have to do it according to the needs of the client, but I think it also becomes more efficient,
I
right?
think.
Because most people that are getting the service and they're just like, somebody comes in, they do it quickly and they're unsatisfied, they'll have to come back, redo things, and maybe fire the person. And I think the way you're doing it is totally the right way forward. So, but still, again, in an era where we're gonna have a more older population, what do you think that either both the younger and the elder people should be focusing on so we can keep a harmful society?
I think building a community where you have their likes and dislikes there. Like if you have a seniors community where they can have their own gardens, where they can go for a walk, where they can have their own swimming pool, where they can have their own exercise
Yes.
area, and in the center of it, if they can have all of that, they can access what they want
Yes.
or what their interest is.
Oh yeah.
Some could be artists, some could be musicians.
Mm.
So if you had all of that at their disposal,
Yep.
so to say,
Mm.
that would help them age happier.
Mm. I love that. So that's really a cool concept that I want to dive in deeper now with you. So what do you see currently in the retirement, well, we call it from now on aging homes, in the aging home industry? What do you see as are the main problems? Is it like it's too close from society, they're put away somewhere, or what do you see that is not working, or do you just see there's a increased demand?
There is a demand, yes, but knowing what your clients need
Mm.
and building a community
Yes.
around it, I think would be more beneficial
Oh yeah.
and more happier. If you had someone cook for them what they like,
Yep.
not having a meal from paper and saying, oh, this is what I want, that is what I want. But if somebody can do that for you,
Yes.
if you can get your own vegetables from the garden,
Mm.
And they're happier because they did it.
Yes.
There's pride in it, there's
Oh, yeah.
joy in it.
Yeah.
So, something like that. In the morning, somebody doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to exercise, they can still come out. They can play cards.
Oh yeah.
Others can sit in the library. Some
Exactly.
can go in the garden. Some can play music.
Mm.
So, doing what they love to do.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, be satisfied and go to bed.
That sounds like an amazing way to become of age. I think
Yes.
I would love to do that all the time. I'd be gardening all the time. No, but yeah, it's a great concept that I think if you do it really well and based on, again, not just on numbers and what the financial returns will be, but to do it on like let's look at the stats. Maybe there's 30% of the population that loves to do gardening, 50% loves doing
Exactly.
music. Can we incorporate that in the planning process so that whenever the finished product is ready, it's completely designed
It's
to the
a
needs
unique
of them?
concept.
Yeah.
It's a unique concept. And then each one shows their pride and joy to the others.
Mm-hmm.
Some might love listening to music,
Yeah.
others love to play music.
Oh, I love that.
Some like to garden, others like to cook.
And others
So,
like to eat.
So,
Nice.
putting those things together.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. And we talked about it offline as well. Like,
Yes.
I think there is an opportunity to also look like what do most, or again, build on the Blue Zones model. What are the key aspects that make people age gracefully. And as it turns out, gardening is definitely one of them. Community, as you already mentioned, and then also in
Lifestyle change.
in most cases they still live with the elderly people live with their family, which is kind of also community. And in some cases in the modern or Western world, it's difficult to do that because people have a lot of busy jobs. But we could recreate that system on the aging home place by, for example, incorporating a school for kids or an after school care. So people that, again, what's your interest? Maybe some people like to spend time with kids and talk with kids and teach kids. So they could be part of that business as well. I think that would be something very exciting to do. What else do you think could be amazing to do that?
Bringing younger children and having a story hour and having the seniors tell them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the children learning from there.
Oh yeah.
Rather than sitting in front of the TV.
Oh, that's a great idea. I love that when my grandfather talked about it's not
Yes.
always the nicest stories, but talking about the war and what he had
Yes.
gone through, and then he knew a lot about Napoleon. He couldn't stop talking about Napoleon, so I learned a lot from him. So I think that's a great way of doing that. Yeah.
And that's how children can have an insight into better imagination. They have social skills then. Nowadays, sitting on the phone,
Oh yeah.
your social skills are not there.
No.
So bringing up those social skills,
Yep.
Caring for each other comes in along with listening to their stories, sitting with them, or maybe just having students come and have lunch or dinner with them.
Oh yeah.
Or they can cook for the younger generation, or the younger generation can cook for them,
Exactly.
That's going to be so much of an interaction.
Yep. I love that. So I think we could keep talking about that and dive deeper into that, and we sure should. But what do you...
When you come back to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do that. So what do you think will be the biggest challenges to go to that end point? Because it's not going to be an overnight thing.
No.
What do you see as the roadblocks to get there?
I don't think there are roadblocks. You want to do something, you can do it.
Nice.
I don't think there's a roadblock. I think, you need like-minded people.
Yeah.
To sit down, to map it out,
Yep.
and get it done.
Exactly.
I don't see a roadblock.
No. Even if you get into real estate and building contracting,
Exactly.
there's definitely some hurdles that will happen. But if the vision is there and the end point is in mind, I think everything is possible, right? We've learned that. And you're the greatest living example of that. Nice. Yeah. So what else are you excited about for the future?
The future? Haven't decided anything yet.
You want to keep doing what you're doing because you already have a lot on your plate. Maybe that's enough for the future.
So maybe finishing what I have, and then maybe the next thing will come up.
Oh yeah, nice. What are you most passionate about?
Caring for others.
Oh yeah. So
educating others, making sure you bring people up to par with what is expected. Creating that wow experience for your clients.
Yeah.
Right? Keeping them happy. Being there for them.
Yeah.
Rather than for me. I think that gives me more pleasure than.
Yeah. So
looking at it as a job or looking at it as a business.
No, you strive for value, for service of people.
Absolutely.
You care for people. You help people to care for people. That's your magic. And I've seen you've told me some amazing stories, like how you started your first clinic and then your second clinic, and all the results just follow from your intention of helping people and doing something good for the world, and then success becomes inevitable. Like I feel that is a beautiful way to do business, if it's for the planet or for people or for the environment. If you put your minds to it and then you go for it, it will happen.
There are no barriers.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. So anything else that you would like to add to our listeners to inspire them to do something good for the environment, for our planet, for elder people? What is your best piece of advice for people that are
best
listening?
piece of advice to anybody who's thinking of changing jobs at a point where they are, whatever you call retirement is, think of something that you're passionate about and continue to do it and continue to make a difference in other people's lives, because you have the knowledge, you have the skill, and you can share it. Even if you have a small office and make a difference. So if you don't want to work where you're working, and you want to do something else, pursue it, because you can make a difference, one person at a time.
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's a certain effect of a ripple effect, or what they call the butterfly effect. So, and that's your work is like a lighthouse of that. That's why I started the interview as the lighthouse in the aging industry. We've now redefined everything.
So no more word retirement.
No more retirement, because that will be taking a step
back. The lighthouse
back.
is a better one.
I like it, right? So,
lighthouse
and
is a better
like, it's kind of like step it up. You've had 50 years of experience, now share it with the world.
Yeah.
I love that. So, and I think it's a great piece of advice for anybody at any age, to find your passion and chase it, whatever it takes, right? Yeah, nice. Okay, so we will start wrapping up here. I just want to get our listeners to connect with you. How can they best find you, reach out to you if they're excited about what you're doing, and maybe they want to start working in this aging industry as well?
No aging industry. Yeah, you can find me online.
Yeah.
My telephone number is 416-579-3357.
Yes.
We have an office located in Scarborough. We have another office in North York. We have a clinic in Richmond Hill. If you want to visit the clinic and you don't have a doctor, you can come to our clinic in Richmond Hill. What else can I say?
So, some social media. Are you active on LinkedIn? Can people find you there, or
yeah, people can find
Facebook,
I'm not,
LinkedIn?
Yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm not very active.
No, you have enough work and you're enough of service, so we don't even have to bother that. But I think you said you wanted to start a podcast as well, right?
Yes, I want to start a podcast, and I have to finish my last 2 books.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent idea. If you can show and interview people in the world that are doing great in this industry, then it will have a huge impact, and again, ripple throughout the world. Yeah. So, Nurse Ruth, thank you very much for coming on the show. I wish you a lovely day, and hope to see you soon again.
And God for that.
Yes.